Hello friends, this is Pastor Artur Pawlowski. I have an update for you today. I'm not going to be talking today about my mom. As you know, she passed away yesterday. I'm going to do that when we are, as a family, ready. I just will tell you this much. During the biggest lie that we have ever seen, she said she's not going to be injected. She refused to be injected. And because of it, she was removed from a waiting list for a transplant, a kidney transplant. And from that moment on, everything went down and she eventually passed away yesterday. But I'll tell you all the details in the near future. I was asked by my mom not to do it while she was in a hospital. She was terrified of the hospital. She was terrified of the doctors for what they have done to her. So she asked me not to stir the pot, not to do anything until after, because she was afraid they will hurt her and she was in enormous pain. So I'll tell you all of it, the whole story, in the near future. Today I want to focus on something else. The life continues. Of course, my family is heartbroken. I'm still not okay. If I was to start talking about this whole thing, I probably would start crying. And we are still living, and we are fighting for the future of this great country of ours. We're fighting for the future of our children and their children. Life continues and the fight continues because the evil is not stopping. So please, if you can, share this video. I'm going to do a lot of reading today. There are documents that I received. I received documents from the city of Calgary. They came to me via courier, and I'll tell you what those documents say. It's a shocker. It's crazy. It's sick. I don't understand those people. I don't understand why they hate God and the poor so much, but they do. So I want to start with a scripture, because in the end of the day, I want us to be encouraged that justice will be served. And we have to, everything we do in life, everything we proceed, we have to have that solid foundation of the scripture. Everything we do should be done according to the word of God. That's our ultimate authority. It's not what man says, it's not what the man feels, it's not what the governments say. Governments come and go. Hitler's, Mussolini's, Mao Zedong's come and go. Stalin's come and go. Trudeau Castro's, Biden's, Obama's, Clinton's, they come and go. But Jesus sits on the throne. He's unmovable, unshakable. So I want to start with this. And why am I doing this video? I think it's very important, and I believe that you deserve to know. You deserve to know what is happening in our country. You deserve to know how evil, just pure evil, monsters those people are. You deserve to know who is ruling over you in this country. You deserve to know that, because if you do not know that there is a cancer, you will not be able to cut it out. Kidney with my mom, and again, I don't want to talk about this today, but it's called a silent killer because there's no pain. You don't feel anything and you're dying. That's exactly what is happening in our beloved Canada. In the West, we have been sick for a very long time, but because we could not feel the pain, we thought everything is okay. Now we feel the pain. There is more pain in the land, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of the birth pains. So I'm doing this video because I believe you deserve to know how evil those in power in Canada are. I want to start with Ezekiel 34:4. Ezekiel 34:4. The weak you have not strengthened, the sick you have not healed, the injured you have not bound up, the strayed you have not brought back, the lost you have not sought, and with force and harshness you have ruled them. That's Canada, my friends. That's the West. Isaiah 10:1. Woe! This is what God is saying to all of your evil, wicked doers. Woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees, who write misfortune which they have prescribed. In other words, they are passing laws, bylaws after bylaws, which are hurting the people. Those are evil decrees. And because of those decrees, those laws, there is a misfortune which they created. My friends, everything that is happening in our country, they, the politicians, with the support and help with crooked judges and law enforcement agents, they did it. Canada is beautiful. Canada is amazing. Canada is filled with resources beyond measure. Canada could be the most prosperous nation on earth if we had good, godly, God-fearing government. But for a very long time, we either had crooks, con artists like Harper, Pierre Poilievre and others pretending to be Christians, or Dave Bronconia, the most corrupted man I've ever met, thief, that have been stealing and pillaging, and yet goes to a Baptist church. Hypocrites, Pharisees and Sadducees. Isaiah 1:23, you princes are rebels and companions of thieves. I mean, this is like describing exactly the political realm in Canada. There is this famous quote I saw yesterday that you cannot get rich by being a politician unless you're a crook. How come those politicians were worth only a few $100,000 when they got into politics, and now they're worth 30, 40, 50, $100 million? How? Please, there's anyone that can explain to me that mathematics? The servants of the people, they got, let's say, $200,000 salary, suddenly within a few years are multi-millionaires because they're crooks, they're thieves and companions of thieves. Everyone loves a bribe and runs after gifts. They do not bring justice. There is no justice in the land. The judges are crooks, except few righteous. They do not bring justice to the fatherless, and the widow's cause does not come to them. It does not concern them because they have everything they want. They're stealing and pillaging. They're like locusts. Proverbs 14:31, whoever oppresses a poor man insults his maker, but he who is generous to the needy honors him. In the end of the day, we must take care of the poor. That's what Christianity is all about. Jesus died for everyone, for the poor and for the rich, for the healthy and for the sick. But we, the church, we must go out and take care of those that cannot take care of themselves. Ezekiel 22:27, her princes in her midst are like wolves, tearing the prey, shedding blood, destroying lives to get dishonest gain. In the end of the day, again, I said that thousands of times, in the end of the day, if you do not know what the whole thing is all about, it's always about money. Her princes in her midst are like wolves, tearing the prey. They have no regard for life. In the city of Calgary, they are kidnapping the poor and taking them to Lethbridge, to Medicine Hat, to Red Deer. They're taking them all over the place, removing them from the streets of Calgary, pretending that there is no issue here, there is nothing to see here, there's no problem. They're murdering people. They jabbed so many homeless people, and many of them are dead. They're bloody murderers. And one day I'm going to do a video and I'll read the whole finding of this public inquiry that happened with Danielle Smith. She's being viewed as the most amazing politician in Canada. People would love her to run to become the Prime Minister. Oh my God, how blinded and stupid and foolish you are. The recommendation that she received in August was very clear. Stop the jobs immediately. And she released the document just a few weeks ago, and the jobs are not stopped. People are being murdered as we speak under the guidance and leadership of Danielle Smith, and people think she's the best ever. Let me ask you this question. Under her leadership for a few years, is your life better now or worse? Do you have more money or less? Are you struggling with your bills? And don't blame the Trudeau-Castro You know, people people come and say, axe the tax, the carbon tax. But we have about 100 other taxes that she has the power to axe. Do you know that Alberta has its own carbon tax that she has not removed? That's why at the pump you pay more, because of her taxes. So don't look at Ottawa, don't look at just one man. The problem is all of them, the so-called conservatives, the liberals, the NDP, they all are wicked, evil wolves, tearing prey, shedding blood. Show me one party that stands, a ruling party that stands for the innocent, for children, for the future of this country, like anyone that stands for the moral standards. There's none, zero. All the ruling parties are evil wolves, pretending. Some of them are not even pretending, but some of them are pretending that they are sheep, but they are wolves in sheep clothing. They are destroying lives to get pension, money, dishonest gain. So I'm going to read to you the documents. Let me try to find, first I'll show them to you. And by the way, if you don't believe me, and I'm sure some maybe later will watch this and say, hey, no, this is crazy. What he's reading is not there. It's insane. Well, I've included the documents. You can see them at streetchurch.ca, streetchurch.ca, and you can see those documents. I publish them. I believe that you deserve to know what's really going on. I publish them in its entirety on our website, streetchurch.ca. So I'm going to read those things to you, then I'll come back to what is going to happen. First, I'll start with a letter from the top City of Calgary lawyer, dated February 7, 2007, and I'll show you this document first. And again, you can read this document for yourself and on streetchurch.ca. And if you want, you can follow me right now as I'm reading the document to you. And it's from Collins Sinclair Law and Legal Services, and it's a 2-page document, and then I'll tell you some other shocking, crazy things. And thank you so much for watching. I mean, without the support of my friends and the people from around the world, especially in the United States of America, we would not be able to survive this. One man cannot do it, one family cannot do it. They just finished off my mom. For those that do not know, she refused to get the job and she was taken off the waiting list for kidney transplant, and she died. But again, I don't want to talk about this today because I would start breaking and crying, and I have to focus on the fight, have to focus on the future for our children, her grandchildren, because if we don't rise up, if we don't stand up, they're going to finish us off. So here is the document. You can follow me. It's dated February 7, 2025, and it's directed to my attention. So pretty much she's starting the document saying that City of Calgary graciously granted me permits to feed the poor in Olympic Plaza. Of course, after 10 years of harassing me, over 300 citations at that time and many arrests and over 120 court cases. Now it's in 130 court cases and 360 or 70 citations and multiple arrests. But at that time we made a peace after 10 years, and she says that graciously the City of Calgary granted me permits. Can you imagine? You need a permit from the crooked politicians to feed your fellow citizens. Can you grasp this concept? Can you understand what I'm trying to communicate to you? That you need, according to those people in ChinaDa, you need their permission to take care of your fellow citizen. Dying child on the street you cannot feed unless you have a special permission from the law department. Can you believe how wicked and evil those monsters have become? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? How far we have fallen from humanity, never mind even how this nation was established. Just as humans, we have fallen so crazy low that we have become worse than animals. Now she's saying the Olympic Plaza is closed for renovation. And again, why they're renovating this, maybe perhaps just to get rid of us. We don't have the money. It's going to cost $1 billion to build that stupid thing, which we don't need, but they're doing this anyway. And now she says, the municipal complex, which is City Hall, where out of all the places in the city of Calgary, you supposed to be able to protest the crooked politicians, to protest whatever is happening in the world. That's the place to do it. City Hall, outside City Hall. I'm not talking about storming City Hall. I'm not talking about going in outside on the public sidewalk. Out of all the places in the city of Calgary, that's the heart, that's the beating heart of the city, and that's where citizens should be able, by law, God and state law, to protest. But that's not the case. She's telling me that this is an area that you're not permitted to do protests. During those unauthorized events, you have been advised by corporate security, the Calgary Police Service and City Parks that you cannot halt your events in that location. You cannot protest the government at City Hall. You cannot do it. Why? Because they say so. In a free and a democratic society. And yet people are looking at the Conservative Party, because let me remind you, we are in the province of Alberta. We are living in a conservative place. Alberta used to be called the Bible Belt of Canada. We have a conservative government, but they are like American rhinos. They have sold their souls for trinkets, for silver, like Judas Iscariot. In a conservative place, you're not allowed to have protests at City Hall by law. They have said that they have allocated to us another place which is hidden from the public eyes. They have given us a Paget Park. I didn't even know that this kind of a park, which is not a park, it's a little 30 feet by 50 feet, a little square, far away, hidden from the public eyes. I didn't even know that Paget Park existed, so I went over there to check it out, and it's unbelievable. It's nothing. You're not really able to do anything over there, and you're away from the public eye. So how can you protest the government when no one sees you? No one is allowed to see you that you're protesting. But that's exactly what the city of Calgary is doing with this witch of the West, Jody Gondek, that came to this land and is destroying this land. I think she's from Pakistan. The purpose of this letter is to remind you of the terms of an order of the Court of King's Bench made back. So she's referring to a court order dated December 22nd, 2015, 10 years ago. I will read a portion of that court order to you, which is crazy. It includes you're not allowed to protest, even on a public sidewalk. Even on a public sidewalk, you're not allowed to protest. It further includes all sidewalks around the block and portion of the Plus 15 networks as well. As a result, the city is of the view that your events constitute contempt of this court order. Should you hold any further events anywhere on the municipal complex without a permit from the city? So if you want to protest, as they're saying, you have to apply for the permit. If you want to protest our corruption, you have to get our permission. Then, if we will graciously grant you that permission, you can do it. but you can only do it once a month. I'll read it to you later on, the bylaw that she's referring to. It's just, oh my God, I don't know why Canadians are so asleep. I don't understand why. Today I read some comments about the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, and people are saying she's the best, she's awesome, she's unbelievable, she should be the Prime Minister, she's amazing. And the only one, my God, why you're so blind. It's her that is doing this. It's under her leadership that people are jabbed and dying on a regular basis. My mom is at the morgue right now since yesterday. I called the funeral home and I wanted to make an arrangement to come and sit down and talk about the funeral. I was told that only next week, that they have no available date because there's so many people dying. In Calgary, in Alberta, there's so many people dying that it takes almost a week to sit down and just talk about arrangements. Not funeral, arrangements for the funeral. People are dying left and right, and that's under the leadership of Danielle Smith, and yet people hold her as the hero, as the freedom fighter, as the best of the best. So frustrating. So frustrating. You're trying to save the people, trying to awake the people, and they just don't want to be awakened. They just don't, they're bent on destruction. And they keep doing the revolving door, keep voting for the same ruling parties over and over again. And be mindful, we don't have Donald J. Trump to help us out here within the ruling parties. They're very privileged in the United States that he joined the Republican Party. If we had Donald Trump and he would join the Conservative Party, then by all means. But Pierre Poilievre is the puppet of Schwab. He is the global young leader. He was part of the WEF. He's part of signing us into WEF, into the Paris Accord. He says, axe one tax. What about 100 different taxes that are killing Canadians? Open your eyes, please. So here is the threat. You're not allowed to do this without a permit from the city. And if you continue, the application will be brought to have you and any of the other parties named in order. That means everyone, every volunteer, every Christian, every person, including even the homeless, if they would dare to come to get food, would be found in contempt. And the penalties for contempt of court can include fines and or incarceration. So prison, in other words, incarceration. Prison. You can be found in contempt if you keep protesting us without our approval. You might go to jail. We trust that you will comply with the terms of the order and that a contempt application will not be necessary. I encourage you to seek legal advice, and I did. We hired lawyers. And that's where we need your help. We hired lawyers. We don't have the Rebel News unbelievable entourage of supporters and people. We are just a small little church with enormous, unbelievable bills because the enemy, the wolves, know that if they will keep pounding on one man that is not as supported as those big shots, eventually they will bleed me out. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're trying to bleed us out. I had to hire lawyers. Well, and I guess to be fair, I could quit. I mean, many did before us. There are other organizations that received similar letters and they did quit. They said, well, I guess we cannot feed the poor, we cannot preach the gospel, so we have to go into hiding. And many did. I talked to many pastors that did this event many years ago, and they said when the police shows up and threatens you with arrests and tickets and courts, who can withstand such a harassment? Well, not many, that's true, not many. However, we were built for such a time as this, and I'm going to fight them. But I cannot fight them by myself. I need your help. So this was signed by Colleen Sinclair. That's the top city lawyer in the city of Calgary. And again, read the whole thing by yourself. It's on streetchurch.ca website. I published it today. streetchurch.ca. Now let's go to the bylaw, and you will be absolutely shocked by this so-called law. This is a bylaw number 38M 2012. Bylaw number 38M 2012. Again, I published it on Street Church website, but you can also find it on the City of Calgary website as well. It's called Municipal Government Act. The City of Calgary may pass bylaws for municipal purposes respecting. So they're using their powers. And the bylaw pretty much I just tell you, it outlines the boundary, so City Hall and sidewalks. And then I'll tell you what you're not allowed to do. So here it says in III includes the sidewalks on the west, north, east, and south. So all around City of Calgary, according to them, you're not allowed to protest. Full stop, unless you have their permission. You cannot protest crooked government unless the crooked government gives you permission to protest. So demonstrations, what it means according to them, means a public meeting. A public meeting. So when few people come together to oppose whatever is happening in a land that's prohibited by law. Or march held by one or more persons for the purpose of expressing. So listen to the language. There goes your God and state given rights, the Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms out the window, completely out the window. We have in Canada no protection of the law anymore. The demonstration means a public meeting or march held by one or more persons for the pursuit of expressing protest or opinion on an issue, but does not include union picketing. So if you're a unionist, then I guess you can do it. Demonstrator means a person who leads, organizes, or participates in a demonstration. So everyone, whoever, even if you show up, you can be arrested and found in contempt of court. Event means an activity that may include any of the following. So listen to the wording. A demonstration, no protest. You're not allowed to protest. You're not allowed to protest at City Hall against the crooks. You cannot do it or you will go to prison. An event by a registered not-for-profit or charitable organization. An event by a local school accredited by Alberta Education. An event organized by city. An event sponsored by the city. So you're not allowed to do it. That's the bylaw again. 38M 2012. Now let's go to the crooked judge. Crooked judge. Again, that was forwarded by Solicitor Colleen Sinclair and the respondents. And again, you can see those documents on streetchurch.ca, streetchurch.ca. And this was filed in Court of Queen's Bench at that time of Alberta, December 22nd, 2015. So they are using 10-year-old court order to keep harassing us today. And the applicant is the City of Calgary. Respondents, David Hughes, David Pawlowski, Artur Pawlowski, and here is a kicker. John Doe 1 through 5 and John Doe's 1 through 5. That means anyone. This is against everyone. But wait a second, aren't we having regular protest by Hamas and terrorists, Hezbollah and all those psychopaths against the Jewish people, screaming bloody murder, let's murder the Jews? Every week they're coming there, every week they are protesting right at the location. And the bylaw doesn't bother them, and the police is protecting them. It looks like this law specifically targets only Christians. This so-called law is only applied against Christians, my friend, and that's my point. That's why I hired lawyers. That's why we have to fight this, because this is a selective application of the so-called law. This is choosing and picking who we want to support. Like Black Lives Matter, they can march during COVID, no problem. The Antifa tags, those people that are pillaging, destroying, burning stuff up, they are protected by the crooked politicians like Jody Gondek and Smith and others. They can do whatever they want with the full protection of the police and the bylaw services and the City Hall. Well, what about the natives? They have this display at City Hall, which is against the bylaw. You cannot protest. Again, remember, you're not allowed to protest. So the natives built a whole protest site 3 years ago, and it's still there, protected by the authorities, with garbage in it. This was all based on those children that were never found, the graveyards that were never found, never discovered. It was all hoax. It was all anti-Christian attack sentiment. That's why our church was let on fire. They destroyed, vandalized our church for months. They burned down our church's bus. They broke into our church. We were vilified, attacked. So this is a selective application of the law. One group of people can do it, another group, no, you cannot do it. We will give an exemption to one group, like the natives or the Muslims or Palestinians or anybody else. I mean, anybody else can demonstrate except Christians. If you do it, you will go to prison. That's what the letter says. You cannot do it without our permission. I don't need your permission to exercise my God and state-given rights. We have a law that says Charter of Rights and Freedoms with its fundamentally guaranteed laws, provisions. One of them is freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of religion, freedom to protest, but apparently not in the city of Calgary, not in Alberta. And makes me sick. Smith is traveling all over United States pretending she's the freedom, she's the Trump 2.0, that she's so good, and yet her government is prosecuting and persecuting Christians in Alberta. Americans, brothers and sisters, please, you must know how evil Canadian politicians are. Con artists, they're liars, pathological liars. So native display, breaking the bylaw is permitted. It's okay because ideologically fits into what ChinaDa stands for. And again, Muslims screaming bloody murder on the Jewish people, that's acceptable from the river to the sea. That's perfectly fine. Everyone can protest except Christians. If you are a Christian, you cannot protest or you will be arrested. This is Calgary, Alberta, under Danielle Smith's leadership in the province of Alberta, with Jody Gondek and Danielle Smith, two wicked, evil women that are doing this to people. When I was visiting mom in the hospital, every day I had to pass by a huge display of how to get the job. They're murdering people on a regular basis. They're jobbing them, even though for 7 months now she has document from the doctors saying stop the jobs. They are murderers, and yet they're being viewed as the best of the best. Sickening. This is a judgment. I think there's no other explanation. God has given you into a heavy delusion, and this is a judgment on ChinaDa. This is a judgment on Alberta. This is a judgment on the church that is apathetic, uninterested, doing nothing, just protecting their interest in a business realm, preaching to the wallets instead of preaching to the hearts of the people. Well, here is a court. Here is a court order. Let me get a bigger document on the screen. And by the way, I'll show you first. I kind of moved on, but here is the bylaw. And again, you can see those documents on the website, streetchurch.ca. I published them. You can read the whole thing, and you got the whole outline of what they're talking about. It takes the whole City Hall and surrounding areas, including sidewalk. You're not allowed to protest them unless the crooked politicians give you a special permission to do so. That's crazy. That's how crazy this whole thing has become. So this is a final document. I want to show it to you. And this is a court document. It's 2-paged court order. Check it out on the website, and I'll just read it to you with the bigger letters because I can't read that anymore. Again, like I told you, this is this application was done by Colleen Sinclair, the same person that sent me the letter a few days ago that was couriered to me, and it's the City of Calgary Law Department. This is dated December 22nd, 2015. That's how old is the law, this document. And this is pretty much: the respondents are not to hold any events in the municipal complex as defined in bylaw number 38M 2012 without a permit from the city or without further order of the court. In other words, you're not allowed to protest. If you dare to do that, you will go to prison. You will be found in contempt of court. And that's it, my friends. This is my reality. This is every day fighting for the rights of Christians in ChinaDa, because that's what we have. We don't have Canada anymore. We don't have Dominion of Canada. We have ChinaDa, and the fight continues. So please pray for us. Pray for what's going on. This is a huge giant, and we have been fighting this giant for a very long time, and we need to cut this giant's head off. So please pray for our family, for what happened to Mom, and also please pray that God would give us all the resources we need, and we really need resources. I have been asking people to chip in because I see no other way. I see no other how to raise the funds. Those astronomical amounts of money that are needed to keep fighting, I just do not know, except talking to you. If you like what we're doing, if you want Christianity to prevail in this country under the leadership of communism and socialism, under the leadership of traitors from the conservatives, NDP and liberals, we need to keep bringing it to the attention of the public. If you know someone that is interested in a story to do a show, please let me know. Please let me know so I can tell the whole world what the City of Calgary, what Daniel Smith is doing in Alberta, how evil those people are, how professional of liars they are, traveling all around the United States pretending that they are good while they are evil. And the same thing Doug Ford is doing. He says, Save Ontario, said the man that was actively destroying Ontario for the past few years. I just don't get it, except one thing, that God has given you into the hands of the uncircumcised Philistines because you have rejected God. He has rejected you. Canada kicked God out of Canada, and now evil rules in Canada, because when you kick the light out, you remain in darkness. You remain in darkness. So if you know anyone that has a podcast or a show, please send me those people so I can tell the whole world what's going on. We will keep fighting. We'll keep pushing. We will. But we need support. Go to streetchurch.ca, please. Chip in anything, any amount. I mean, it adds up. Usually those videos that I do are 15, 20,000 views in a day. Then I place them on other platforms and they're being shared. So please share the video. And if everyone just chips in a little bit, I mean, the struggle would be over. We would be able to keep fueling the lawyers and keep fighting, exposing them. I mean, those documents, if anything else, it's exposing them. At least you know, I mean, the past 4 years, what was this whole thing all about? It was exposure. It was to let God was allowing this to happen so people can see how crooked, evil those monsters are. In a way, in the past 4 years, we learned more about those players, the globalist devils, than during the past 50 years. It was so clear who is who in the zoo, who is evil, who is good. I mean, the chasm between the good and the evil is huge right now. If you didn't stand during this test, you failed the test. And the second test is coming. So, streetchurch.ca, please, if you can. If you're in Canada, art@streetchurch.ca, art@streetchurch.ca. And you can e-transfer, and you can use other ways. We collect crypto, we sell it after, and there are all kinds of ways to support us, but we need support. I can't just keep doing this by myself. Without the support of the people, we will not survive this. Together in solidarity, we would be unbeatable, unstoppable. I mean, there is no way they can stop masses of the people. And if you're in Calgary area tomorrow, 1:30 p.m., we are starting freedom rallies. 1:30 p.m. in front of City Hall. In front of City Hall, we will start freedom rallies. So please come and join us. If you can, it's going to be extremely cold, -30. I know only the hardcore people will show up, but we will be there. And we have to, I guess, do it every single week until the whole world will know how evil Canadian politicians have become, how crooked the judges are. I don't see another way, because the other way is to crawl and die. And if that's what you want to do, then you got the freedom, I guess, to die. That's the one freedom that they're leaving you with. You can just crawl and die. But that's not me. I'll die standing. I'll die fighting. My children are worth fighting for. And I hope that your children are worth fighting for as well. Well, I'm fighting for your children as well. I'm fighting for your grandchildren. And I have been doing this for so many years. I said to my wife, I'm tired of fighting. I wish that God would give me peace with those evil, wicked people. But in America, I guess a lot of people have found that peace. That their elected officials are doing their job for a change. In Canada, we don't have that. We're dealing with evil monsters, murderers, and corrupted individuals to the core, working with the Chinese government hand in hand. So, be blessed, stay strong, keep us in prayers. Keep our family in prayers. It's a very sad and challenging time. And then one day when we're ready, I'll tell you the story of my mom, how courageously she fought with the system and how the system failed her. And eventually it cost her her life. I will keep fighting. We're still here around. She is in heaven right now with Jesus, walking with the heroes of old. We are on this side of eternity and we still have a job to do. God has not called us home yet. One day we will see her. Soon we will see her again. Until then, we got to keep plowing, keep putting the seed into the ground. We have to keep doing what God called us to do. We are accountable today to do the right thing, to say the right things, to expose darkness, to bring the light, to stand and fight the good fight of faith. So be blessed, stay strong. I'll update you on the funeral. I'll update you on the fight Tomorrow, 9:45, we will be at the church. God gave me a message weeks ago, so I'm going to, by the grace of God, I'll deliver that message tomorrow. And then 1:30 we'll be in front of City Hall, fighting and see what the day will bring. Maybe we're all going to be arrested. Maybe my son, they will spend in prison. Who knows? Those people are evil. And it looks that they are stopping at nothing. There's no law they're not willing to break. There's no decency that they're not willing to trample on. There are no moral standards. They have no hearts. They have sold their very souls to devil, to Satan himself. They're the minions of the wicked ones. So, again, be blessed and go to streetchurch.ca, please. If you're Canadian, art@streetchurch.ca. If you want to send me the podcasters and people that do shows, art@streetchurch.ca. If you want to donate using e-transfer, art@streetchurch.ca. Just today I talked with our lawyer. I hired him into taking this down. So there will be additional amounts of money needed, and I just don't know what else to do. So be blessed, stay strong, and in the end of the day, remember, we have already won. Enemy just doesn't know it yet. Keep roaring. Keep roaring. Obviously, the hyenas are scared of us. That's why they're pounding the way they do so. I guess we are on the right track. So keep moving forward. Do not turn to the left or to the right. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on the prize. Be blessed.